Welcome to our first episode of Let's Talk About It. I am your host, Deng Achiek. Our topic is the advice I would give to a 20-year-old self. I'm going to let you in on some mistakes that I had made when I was in my 20s and the advice that I would like to offer to someone in their 20s. First thing first, when I was in my 20s, I used to date a lot. And the reason was it was a thing back then. There was this mentality of 20-year-old me or anyone out there that was in their 20s and could relate to this message or advice. So I used to date a lot. I dated so many girls, and I will explain why. The reason why that happened was because of my peers, and it was what was happening then. They call it game. Looking back at that, I must admit that it was not the right thing to do because, number one, it's not a good example if you have young kids that are looking up to you. It came with financial risk because what tend to happen is when you are dating a lot of girls, so you're going to have to book plane tickets, you're going to have to book hotels, you're going to have to buy food, and that is a financial risk. It's mentally draining because you have to attend to all of them. I will tell you an example of an embarrassing scenario that had happened to me. I had a friend, not like an actual good friend, because like when you have a friend who is a girl, she's almost like your sister. But the friend I had was more of a cash cow. I remember it was one Friday. I was in need of a good time, and none of my girls were in the state I was in. So I called her up, and we had a conversation, and I asked her what she was up to that evening, and she said nothing. And I suggested if we could catch up and have a good time, which she evidently agreed. So I asked her if it was okay to book a hotel, and she agreed. So I went ahead and booked a hotel. I remember the hotel was $460. So I went there. It was about 5 p.m. Friday evening. So I went to the hotel, paid the hotel, I ordered food, and I was just waiting for her to turn up. The time we agreed was 7:30 because she was going to uh, take a train to come to the city. And the reason why I went for such expensive hotel was the pride I had then. So I wanted to show that I had money and that I'm the man. So we agreed to meet up at 7:30. 8:30 later, she was nowhere to be seen. So I said, well, maybe it's the train. So I waited. 9 o'clock, I call up, but the number didn't go through. And then I waited for another 10 minutes and I call up again and the number didn't go through. I started asking myself a lot of questions. What could have went wrong? And I kept on calling, texting and all of that. So I waited and I stayed up until 3 in the morning. Now I knew that she was not going to make it anymore, but I just want to know what had happened, why she had decided to bail out on me and failed to give me an update as to why she didn't turn up. So at 3 in the morning, I try again, and this time the number went through, but she didn't pick up. So I was furious. I was really upset. I was very angry. So I tried to go to sleep. I could not sleep because I was that furious. Next morning, when I woke up, I went back to the boys, and they knew where I was and what I was up to. So they didn't hesitate to ask me how my night went. And I said, no, it didn't go down right because the girl bailed out on me. And they all were scrolling on the floor, laughing and saying things that were not supportive. So at that time, I said to myself, well, this is not a good thing. I felt like it was a good lesson to me because it taught me a thing or two. And what it taught me was that if I had a stick to one girlfriend, then I would have not had that disappointment. but because I was just floating around, I faced the consequences of my action. Another thing that I did in my 20s is clubbing. It's okay to go clubbing, but it's not okay to go every day. It's not okay to go every weekend when you know you have other commitments in your life. And two, clubbing as well costs a lot of money because you have to go in and you have to buy some people drinks. Some people, I mean girls. You have to take a taxi because you can't drive to the city because you won't get a parking. So you have to take a taxi that will take you to the city, and then you will have to take another taxi to take you back to your house. That is another financial risk. And third thing that I had done was having a lot of friends and trusting all of them. If you're in your 20s or you are about to turn 20, it is important to screen your circle. And what I mean by saying that is your circle determine your future. If you have bad friends, then it is most likely that you will have a bad future because your friends are supposed to guide you, they're supposed to regulate you, they're supposed to give you sincere and honest advice as to what is right and what is wrong. That comes down to family members as well, starting from your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, relatives, and colleagues. Their job in your life is to regulate you, is to guide you to a right path so that you don't get lost. But if you have friends who might be jealous of you, or who might be jealous of your direction, or who might feel intimidated by the things you do or things you say, then those people are not right and they should not be in your life. This is where you have to employ clarity in your life. This is where you have to see a bigger picture. How do you know that your friends are not supposed to be in your circle? You can throw things at them like an idea and listen carefully as they give you advice. If they say that it can't be done because X and Y have done it and they have failed, or they themselves has attempt to do it, but they didn't succeed because it was hard or because it could not be done for other reasons, then those are not your friends. You need to get them out of your circle. I cannot stress enough how important that is. Unless if you are just somebody that just want to be in the crowd. But if you really want to stand out, it is time to look in your circle. You can't afford to have people that sabotage you behind your back and praise you in your face. It is also important to understand that the world we live in today has not changed. The world we live in today is an arena full of actors. All the actors are specialized in the field of acting. And you have to employ the ability to read through their shadows. You have to have the ability to read through the fakeness. There's no reason in the world to date more than two girls. You should be happy with one. If you really want to date, one girl is enough. At least date one girl and split the bills. In that way, you will have a better saving. You will travel the world. You will do things that you need to do, such as going to the gym and exercise, reading if you're somebody that love reading. All of those positive things that clear up your mind, you will be able to do them. It's a broad topic and it can't be covered in 10, 15 minutes. If you guys want me to elaborate on this topic, you can request me by commenting what you want me to talk about in the comment section below. Let's keep it interactive and engaging. Subscribe and don't forget to turn on the notification button. Stay positive, stay tuned. Let's go.